All right, and we are live. Hey, welcome to Talkin Doctrine, and thank you for joining us this evening. Tonight's a very special and fun night. We've got a very special guest, James from Renee Roland's channel, is joining us this evening. We had a talk a few weeks ago, and it was very edifying and it was very informative. And so we decided to set up a conversation, and I guess the earliest we could do it was today. So praise God that we were able to get together and have this conversation. We're going to be talking about the flat earth with, in compared to the globe earth. I don't want to say necessarily versus because while I myself am a flat earther, I believe the Bible teaches a flat earth. I believe science shows a flat earth. This is not an important topic. This is not a battle between brothers and sisters. It should never cause discord. I've been a flat earther for almost 4 years now. So I've seen since before it blew up on the internet to when it just exploded. And then here we are a couple years later since the explosion. And I've just seen so many people looking down on others, and fellowships broken, and really just it's torn apart the body of Christ in a way that it really shouldn't. But I get it. Because we're talking about a presupposition here. We're talking about a worldview. We're talking about something we've all believed since we were little kids. That's why today's conversation is great, because we've got James with us, he's not a little kid by any means, but he's got a lot more smarts than his age should allow. So a conversation really getting down to the brass tacks of, what is it that, this theory, this thought that could the earth be a flat disk? Could we have been lied to? And really another good question is why? Why would the lie be there? And so we're going to try to discuss all these different things today. And so I really, this is probably James is one of his first broadcasts. So I'm going to let him introduce himself. And then he's also going to let his mom say a few things as well. So, James, thank you for joining us, and welcome.
Hello, human beings. How's your day been? Has it been good? Well, great. Yeah, yay. None of your family members died from a car accident.
Oh,
yay.
yes, it's a good day. We try to think of things we're grateful for daily.
But
that was a hard one.
Hold on just 1 second. See, I have my thing.
He's got his notes.
See, I have my computer. Your chat is playing. So while I was talking, it's like duplicated.
He's got to turn the volume on the other laptop off because it's
right.
Okay.
It would be very distracting, right?
It duplicated your voice.
Yeah.
So all I heard was hello. Okay. So yeah. So you have been an expert about flat Earth for 14 years.
4 years.
4 years, I meant.
And I wouldn't say that I would be an expert.
Yeah.
I would say that I was persuaded that it was so. But I was a flat earther before it blew up online, so I've actually learned a lot in the past 2 years outside of the Bible, where before all the information I really had was just what I had in the Bible.
Yeah, because I'm kind of similar. I could name all the planets in order by 2.5. So
2.5.
I'm an expert on astronomy.
Yes, he studies it all the time.
I know a lot about.
We can't even get any more library books at the library because he's read them all.
Yeah. And I'm gonna give you before Mom starts talking and everything, I'm going to show you. It's kind of split up into chapters, I would say. So
he's going to let me do the Bible part.
Yeah.
How about I just do the Bible part and you do all the science? I'll get that out of the way and you can have the whole show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, yes, you're finally going to talk about why would such a big lie be in place? And I'm finally having a flat earther that can finally address this question. I've been begging everyone. And yeah.
Oh, sorry, my bad leg. Oh, God, my leg. He's getting heavy. He wanted me to just address a couple of the Bible verses that people use on it. I just wanted to mention this is a discussion. Mathias and I know we disagree on this. And that is okay. And I know people that believe flat earth and people that believe round earth. I want truth. I want truth. And if I could be convinced of this, I would believe it. I have no agenda here. I am not like someone that has some agenda to get people to believe it's round. I don't care what you believe. I'm just stating my case why my son and I believe the Bible easily supports a spherical earth. There a lot of times they say verses like, well, the earth doesn't move. That verse about that the earth doesn't immovable. But then in another verse, it'll say it reels to and fro. I think about a spinning top or, a ball reeling on its axis. So it doesn't bother me that it says that. But then in another verse says that it doesn't move. To me, that just means it's stable. Where it is not flying off into space. God has put laws into place to keep things in order. So a lot of these verses to me seem very artistic, metaphorical, symbolic. It talks about God will wrap his wings around you. Well, he doesn't have feathers. This is clearly artistic language. So I'm only going to go over a couple of the verses, and then I want him to do it because he's got all the science and stuff. And he wanted to have some more tools to be able to show you. But his mind thinks really fast, and he's like me where our thoughts get so fast we get off course. But I just wanted to show you one thing here. Okay, a circle in our dimension, in a three-dimensional universe, cannot exist because a circle only exists in 2 dimensions. Anything in our universe is actually 3 dimensions. And a circle is just something in theory because we live in 3 dimensions. A circle, even a circle, if you drew it on a piece of paper, is not fully a circle. It's a cylinder because it's got some depth to it. I think it's sometimes called that the Z-plane. So you have height, width, and depth because it's 3 dimensions, right? So a circle cannot exist in a 3-dimensional thing. So a 3-dimensional universe. And so when the Bible says he sits above the circle of the earth, well, if we're in a 3-dimensional universe, there's no way it's a literal circle. So that a circle in 3 dimensions has to be one of 2 objects. It must be a sphere, or your other option is a cylinder. In 3 dimensions, a circle must be a cylinder. It must have some depth. So it's either a sphere or a cylinder. This sphere model works with all the physical laws of the universe that I believe God put in his place. And so this one does not. And then it messes me all up. And it's not that I'm brainwashed. It's just there's answers I need that make no sense. So I haven't been able to come to that conclusion that it's a cylinder because that's the only option for a circle in 3 dimensions, a cylinder or a ball. So, and apparently that to me, it's artistic language. It has to be because we don't live in 2 dimensions. So if you look at the moon, it looks like a circle. So here is, and I have the verses there and I'll pull them up. I also wanted to show you something really deceptive that really made me angry in Amos about the dome, which is not what it actually means. But I want to explain something. Firmament is taken from the Hebrew word rakia or rakia. It means expansion. So it's like expansion or space, but it can also mean a tangible expansion of something. Like when he takes the firmament and separates the waters, he's pulling the land up between the waters. When he separates the waters and the waters, he's separating what's above us from what's below. It doesn't have to mean a physical, literal dome, like a snow globe. It doesn't have to mean that. When it says firmament, he stretches it out. And there's a verse, I believe it's in Job, about stretching. Is it Isaiah or Job? About stretching out the heavens. And that would line up with the universe expanding, that he stretches out the heavens. I used to take the Bible and show it to atheists, to show them, look, because I would show them the ocean currents were foreknown, certain sanitary things like running your hands underwater and separating the dead from the living to keep disease down and so forth, that the life was actually in the blood, that he stretched out the heavens so you knew the universe was expanding, and that everything science does should confirm God's word. And that I even told them God knew the world was round and he hangs the earth on nothing. So I always thought of it as like a, you know, like on a Christmas tree where you see a little ball hanging from it. He hangs the earth on nothing. And when it says it's sitting on the pillars of the earth, that's clearly metaphoric language, because we know it's on nothing. Even if it was a cylinder, as the flat earthers claim, then it still wouldn't have pillars, you know, literal pillars, because it's on nothing. And I believe God's word. I also want to say, you do not have to be a flat earther to be a Christian. And as Matthias said, and just because you believe in flat earth doesn't mean you're saved. So I think this causes more division than it doesn't, because I've had atheists now completely push the Bible away and go, well, it says, the Bible says the earth's flat, forget it. Nothing is true in it. But, you know, I've heard of rare occasions where somebody believes in flat earth and then decides the Bible is true because they found out the earth is flat and they think the Bible supports it. So now they're willing to be open that the Bible might be true. So, but I personally think it causes more division and more problems in the body of Christ, because I think we should be fighting over the gospel. I mean, I do enough fighting over that. So we don't want this to be a fight, or me trying, or James trying to show Matthias is wrong and flat earth people are wrong. It's not like that. We just want to show you why we believe as we do, and that we don't believe the Bible does not support a spherical earth. I believe it could support either. It could support either based on its artistic language, but it easily supports a ball earth to me. Now, another thing I've understood about flat earthers, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going to run through this and then let him have it, is that they believe stars are inside the dome or something, and it all moves. Because I got problems here. I've got, when a plane flies one way and then flies the other way, it takes longer. Why? Because it's going against the curvature of the earth. That's why it takes longer to get there. I have problems with eclipses and how it's completely dark for weeks at a time in one place of the earth. And just in one day, it's dark on one side of the world, light on the other. If it's flat and the sun's up here, we're going to see light. No matter how far away it is, no matter what, you're going to see the sun. It's a bright object. You're going to see it. It's going to shine in darkness. I don't understand how that would work. I still haven't gotten an answer that works for me. I've seen people show me how that goes around, but I see our own reflection against the moon. It's around. Okay, anyway, if gravity is real, then it's round, period. But I've heard them deny gravity. But if gravity's not real, how do we have, even if you don't believe people go into space, I know, then you can go into one of those little, they say the space station, which they say people aren't really on, and that's a whole different story. But if they have their toothpaste and they pour water, it turns into little beads and it floats. Well, the density hasn't changed. The gravitational atmosphere has changed. So if gravity isn't true, what's keeping it afloat? Why is it not falling to the ground if it's only density and not the pull of gravity? So gravity pulls things to the center of its mass. That's how we determine if a planet's a planet, if it's completely round. That means if there's enough mass with gravitational pull to make it a fully round object, it's considered a planet. If it's not, and it's kind of lopsided because the mass isn't quite enough to go with the gravitational pull, it's called a dwarf. And so when you take these things out, none of this, I mean, it falls apart for me, and it's just not answering it for me. Now, the reason I brought that up is because in Job, it says right here, now this is one of the verses I used to use to show atheists that God knew about the universe. You know, it had to be written because the Bible speaks about these star configurations, constellations accurately before man could have known, so we know that God wrote the Bible, and I've used this verse to show them that. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? We now know that the Pleiades, the 7 stars, are actually expanding, slowly moving away. You can't bind them because God's got them at a force moving apart from each other. Can you loose the bands of Orion? Orion's belt is static. It does not move. So it tells you right there that that's static, and this star configuration is actually moving slowly, little by little. God knew that. It's not visible by the eye. You can't tell that, but we know it now through studying space. Now, if that's the case, how does that work inside a dome? I just can't have these. This is why I can't get it. I need these questions answered. Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season, or canst thou Arcturus with his sons? So it's naming stars by names. And when it says he stretches out the heavens, I believe this universe is glorious and huge, and to shrink it down like that, it makes me sad. It's kind of depressing for me. But in all honesty, if gravity's real, this discussion's over. And for me, gravity is a legitimate force. It's not density that causes things to fall. There's a force that keeps us that way. And I think it's brilliant. I think God has put things in the universe and laws because he's a God of order. So I wanted to tell you that firmament is translated from the Hebrew word that means expansion, an expanse of something that's tangible. So it can be many things. Then, let me see. I mean, like we know the 4 corners of the earth doesn't mean it's square. You know, that's my whole point. Now, the gentleman that really got this thing kick-started to get people gung-ho for flat earth several years ago was fighting for the hollow earth. And he was just as certain that that was true. So, I mean, you know, I just need more proof of this, because the same conspiracy theorists long time ago were saying that the earth was round, but it was hollow, and that people had flown in it, and there's an inner sun and all of that kind of stuff. Now, a lot of people come against it saying that it's 666,000 miles or something away, so it's a satanic thing. That is one system of measurement, and it's not even used that often. The mile I mean, America uses it, and maybe a couple other places, but everybody else is on kilometers, and it doesn't measure up to 666 anything in any other system of measurement. And anyway, the number 666 is just a number between 665 and 667. The man is evil, but his name, his number is 666, but the number itself isn't evil. It's the man that carries that number, whose name adds to that number. So that to me is a weak argument on it, because that's just a system of measurement that just happens coincidentally to do that, because most people don't even use miles.
All right. Well, on a couple. Oh, right. On a couple things, real quick.
Hey, I didn't. I was gonna let him.
Oh, I know. It's so much. I want to address each one, because I actually have an answer for each one of those points that
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to everything y'all do. I just want to get out of his way.
Right? No, I hear you. Before you go, the cylinder thing. Like when I saw Kent, like you must have gotten that from Kent Hovind.
No, I got it from my son's aunt, because she's a nuclear math genius. She's a nuclear med tech.
He must have got it from. He must have got it from her then, because I heard him say that, and you know, for if circles weren't real,
well, that's just a fact. They're 2-dimensional. You have to have a depth. Even a circle I draw on a piece of paper has a little bit of depth. It's the carbon that lifts it off the paper.
Yeah, but a circle on my screen has no depth, and it's still a circle.
No, it's 2-dimensional.
Well,
that's
but
a 2-dimensional universe. Your screen is 2-dimensional. I'm talking about a 3-dimensional universe. We live in 3 dimensions.
Well, and then also from the flat Earth perspective, it wouldn't be a circle. It would be a cylinder.
Yeah.
So
that would have to be. And so my point is, a cylinder doesn't work with all the other laws that I see working in place. Because if gravity's real, which I believe, it has to be the more logical explanation, because it's Occam's razor, right? Whatever's the most logical answer is the sphere to me, because I believe in gravity. I've seen 0G environments, whether you believe you went to space or not. That's not the issue. They can make 0 gravitational environments. where there is no gravity. Well, they're not removing the density of the object. It's still the same density. It just floats because the gravitational force has been removed.
Well, here in here is a good example of previous discussions that we should throw in here. You don't believe in gravity the same way you believe in Jesus. Am I correct? Like,
as an observable thing.
Well, I actually think that gravity is an explanation for an observable thing, but I don't think it's the only
zero-G environment. I mean, they had to remove something for the same density of an object to not fall to the ground. It's floating.
Matthias, we're gonna make a whole subtopic.
Yeah, I'll let him do it.
All right. We'll talk about that
here and get out of his way.
Sounds good.
All right. The Psalms, where it says he stretched out the heavens like a curtain. I already gave you that one. That's where he stretches the heavens. That's another one saying that the universe is expanding. But here is the thing that bugged me. Let me remove this one because I already talked about the footstool. Amos 9:6 really upset me because in the New American Standard Bible, they make it say something completely wrong. In Amos 9:6, in King James, it says, "It is he that buildeth his stories in the heaven, and hath found his troop in the earth. He that calleth for waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth, the Lord is his name." That word, troop, is translated from a Hebrew word, which means band or a binding, like to tie together. But they translate it as a dome over the earth, which is totally not what that verse is talking about. It's talking about how God, he's doing a vision of the temple, and he's warning how easily he put the earth together and how easily he can unloose the band and let it go. And it'll all fall apart. That it's God keeping things in order. And the whole context of that is missing and changed. Let me show you what it says in the New American Standard, which is very deceptive to me. I didn't like that. "The one who builds his upper chambers in the heavens and has founded his vaulted dome over the earth." Nowhere does that verse say anything like that. Nothing at all. So I can see where that would certainly look like it's saying that. But that's not what the verse says at all. It's completely talking about him binding things together, and it's a warning. He's giving him a vision of a temple. He put it all together. He can easily let go of the binding, and it'll all fall apart because it's God's strength and his power that's keeping everything in order. So, I mean, that's just a rundown of why I believe it. So the only reason I brought up the circle in 2 dimensions is because when it says circle in the Bible, well, he's clearly in a 3-dimensional universe, so it can't be a literal circle. It can't be a literal circle because they don't exist in 3 dimensions. So I had to show what your 2 choices are for a circle in 3 dimensions. And that actually makes sense to me. Then I guess the flat earth model would be a cylinder. But then I got other problems, like seeing the sun and all of that and time zones. And I mean, everything just makes so much sense. And so he's going to talk about the science behind it. I just wanted to give you a brief understanding as to why I just can't get it. And again, I'm on the side of truth. I'm not here trying to be right. I have no agenda for the earth to be round. If God said it was a pyramid or a Rubik's Cube, I'd be fine with it. You know, it's like, give God the glory, you know. But I believe the universe is massive and it's brilliant. And you can see like galaxies far away. And it's just brilliant to me. And to try to shrink that down and say it doesn't even exist. Now, I don't know if all flat earthers think it's holographic or not. I hope not, because it's just beautiful. And I think it really gives God glory. And to shrink it down like that, I don't think we need to be geographically close to God because he's in another dimension. He's right here with us. He lives within us. So he doesn't need to be literally right here, although I believe he's that close. I think if you pull the veil back, the Lord's right there. You know, Stephen saw him sitting on his throne. So I believe it. It's just, I also don't want people to think that you must believe in flat earth if you're going to be a Christian, or that the Bible teaches only that the earth is flat. So if you believe in a flat earth, you don't believe the Bible if you believe the earth is round. And that's not true either at all. And everything that I've seen shown in scripture is easily understood by the artistic language. and can support both. So I just want to show you where I stand and why. I'm not against flat earth people. I have a doctor friend that actually believes it now. And it has nothing to do with people being smarter than another person. It's just I haven't been convinced. I don't think flat earth people are dumb. And I don't think they hopefully don't think I'm dumb. And I think it's wrong to call each other that. I also want to remind people, let's not like call each other names. You're deceived if you think it's flying around at such and such amount. Well, you know, I'm just deceived then. I don't think we need to call each other names and say, you know, I've got the information that you don't have. I think it's good to share things we learn, but let people have their process. And this is not a salvific issue. We don't have to agree on this. Clearly, Matthias and I don't have any hostility towards each other over it. You know, he wants to share with me what he believes, and I'm just explaining why I can't accept it right now. I just don't have enough of those. There's too many things that just don't work for me. But it doesn't mean that, you know, we can't be in fellowship over it. And I hope that people don't think that, you know. But Jim,
Yeah.
I'm going to get you over here, sweetheart. So Matthias can talk to you about the things I said. He wanted to bring those up to you. And then you can bring everything else up. Let me get out of his way. Thanks, Matthias, for letting me just get all that out.
Yeah.
Right. No problem at all. Because tonight's really just about a discussion and trying to answer questions for James, who is just interested in how could somebody really believe such a crazy thing. And you know, I was there. I went through about a 7-month process of researching this out and knowing how crazy it sounded. But for me, I do believe the Bible points towards it in many ways, more than just the artistic values. And so for me, it was like, well, I believe the Bible over everything else on everything else, you know.
By the way, Joshua, I think it's a miracle, and you can't even put that to make this argument.
He was talking about the verse where he says the sun stops.
Yeah, that's a miracle.
Jonathan.
Oh, well, okay. You're talking about Joshua? I gotcha. Yeah, where he said,
I don't like talking about the Bible verse stuff. But I do have.
Fine. I'm just saying that I do believe that there's a bunch of verses, and yeah, not just the artistic ones, not just Joshua, like quite a few where it speaks about directly what's going on with the flat Earth model. So that's one of the reasons why I jumped ship from the globe officially. But I mean, it's the main reason why. But then when it blew up on the internet, I learned a lot more scientifically. So on that, I would love to go point by point one time over those with what your mom was saying, but we don't have time for that tonight.
Yeah.
But I do want you, your mom, and the viewers to know that there wasn't one thing that she said that I have a intelligent, logical explanation, and to be able to show biblically why and scientifically on the science stuff. So we'll get into the science stuff.
Yeah.
But,
I was gonna continue where Mom was off just for one thing. Okay, I have two worldviews for you to believe in. Either God made a beautiful, mystical, magical universe of unbelievable proportions that shows God is capable, or Earth is pretty much a snow globe, and everything like the stars, planets, nebula are all fake, which pretty much means God is incapable. And we all know that isn't true. God is not incapable of anything.
Right. Okay, James, where you're incorrect. That's a false dichotomy.
Oh.
That's not the two choices that you have here. That's not the two choices that you have here. What you're mixing stars and planets, the sun, the moon, all the things that the Bible speaks about. The stars and the planets in here are also called are the wandering stars.
Yeah.
But the galaxies, the extra galaxies far away, the nebula, you know, the stars that are coming in and going away, like that's all stuff that I would say that God didn't create. I would say everything in that we read about in the Bible is true, though. So you can't lump the things we read about. So the stars are awesome in how they work. God set them up, and we've been looking at the same constellations for 6,000 years almost. They haven't changed at all.
Well, actually,
except for the Pleiades, and they're separating a little bit, like what your mom was talking about earlier.
A few thousand years ago. You know what? I'm just gonna start talking. Let's get right into the science. Okay, let's talk about your flat Earth map. Okay, yeah, that's actually called the AE map, by the way. Yeah, it's short term for something. Is that made of plastic or rubber? I can't even tell. I don't know. That's not my point.
It's actually photo paper. I actually printed it out on nice paper. It's a model of a clock, and so it depends on where the sun is and where you are.
Oh.
And you can set it up, and you can tell where the sun is at any time, any time of the 24-hour period with this thing.
Yeah, so, I was gonna say something. Can you point it like horizontally? Man, if I could share my screen. Is it still possible to share my screen, or because of the incident that happened? Okay, great. Hold on.
Well, what question were you asking?
Oh, I was gonna say how sometimes possibly a flat Earth map won't any sense while tracking the current flat Earth map. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not gonna get any of my information from the Flat Earth Society because I do know that you don't like that society. We learned that from the first one.
Right. There's false information and have been for quite a long time.
Hold on a second.
You can look at the satellites from an app called NORSAT.
Hold on.
SoCal works for a satellite.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. It took me a while to find that. Hold on. Why is this taking such a nightmare?
Well, it might be because because the broadcast is taking up a lot of data. It might be a lot harder while we're streaming.
It's because instead of opening what I wanted, I opened up QuickTime Player, which is not what I wanted. So now I have done. Okay. I think everything's working now. Good. Oh, great. Now you won't let me share my screen. I did all this. Not okay. Okay, good. No. Okay, good. Which was it? Yeah, it was this one. Now I'm just gonna open it. So can you see my screen? Is it a flat Earth map? Right? That's what you're saying. Oh. Can you unmute?
Thank you. I didn't realize I was muted. But yes, that's the flat Earth map. Yes.
Okay, good. Because can you see my mouse cursor?
I can.
Okay, great. So a flight from North America to what looks like Russia takes 11 hours. Okay, that's what I checked. That's an average. Okay, Now, flight from, say, here to South America to Australia would take days at least, right? You would agree. Because look at the distance between that and look at the distance between that. If that takes 11 hours, that might take 2 days at least. But no,
you're jumping. If this were 11 hours,
yeah.
This would be about 22.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was just saying it would be really long, but I checked. It would only be a little bit. Hold on. I'm gonna. Boy. Oh yeah, I'm still screen sharing. I'm gonna try to find some info as much as I can. Probably just gonna go to American Airlines and look at the flights.
Right. No, there's a bunch of flight research that you can do.
Yeah.
On all the different, on how everything flies around, and really it does make perfect sense on the flat Earth globe. Like some of the flat Earth model. What it, like the person who they had to do emergency landing because of pregnancy, and they should have been nowhere near Alaska, but Alaska is where they landed.
Oh wait, I just remembered I wasn't talking. Yeah, I've actually heard that story many times. And the flat earthers, do you watch Jainism? Do you know who Jainism is?
He's I know he is, but he okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Just normal flat earthers make that story all the time. The thing is that they always show that line using flat maps. I did that same path on Google Maps, and it still made perfect sense. More of the story was just a story, and it didn't really change anything. It was that. See, I'm gonna say something. The flat Earth channels and the flat Earth people you watch, I'm pretty sure you do independent investigations, but a lot of flat earthers will either outright lie or cherry pick info to fit their beliefs. And this is not you. This is people you watch. Okay, and some of them just outright lie. That nothing they said is true, and we're gonna talk about that later. And I have never seen you do this, but I bet my entire life savings, $23, that well, you probably do this, because I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I'm saying that every flat earther ever has done this at least once. They just said no. Instead of giving a fully fledged scientific explanation, arguing against the idea, they just went, that doesn't happen. No. This happens with any proof I sometimes give flat earthers. Well, I've never done another debate with a flat earther, but I've seen other people do debates with flat earthers, and that's what always happens. So try to watch out in case you're going to do that.
I'm not sure I quite understand, but there are plenty of times there are. Well, see, this is the thing. I don't really. For me, I was persuaded of this long ago when I saw the strife and discord and all the arguments that it caused long ago. So I don't need to watch or get involved in the debate. What I do is I get involved in people looking into it, or people who believe it already, and I preach them the gospel. So it's used more as a tool for me than something I spend my time trying to prove or anything. So yeah. I don't really watch those channels or anything.
Okay, because I've seen some flat earthers outright just steal evidence from other flat earthers. And the reason why I assumed you were going to do that is because every other flat earth I've seen in my entire life, none, you're the first one I've ever actually met in person beyond watching them in videos. But only real flat earthers I've seen in videos have either just ignored any evidence the round Earth the NASA believer gave them, or they just said it's an optical illusion without actually tackling the evidence. So you get what I'm trying to say? So
yeah, sure, yeah. So what questions do you have that I can answer and try to tackle evidence?
Okay. So I think I have. What I'm trying to say is that using a flat Earth map to use as flight path doesn't make much sense when you compare it to flights like this, where a flight to Canada to Russia would take 11 hours, but to Australia to South America would take 21 hours, but no, it doesn't. Well,
right, and that's really a guesstimate. From what I've looked into it, I'm not even sure that this map is accurate.
Yeah.
You know,
I kind of have a problem with that there is no true working map of Earth, because how could shipping routes and cargo and shipping routes from cars to planes, from anything shipping, work without such a map? How could navigational systems at all work without such a map?
By actually the stars. That's how they would used to keep the stars, and they would know where they were going. So they didn't use the.
I guess that's an okay explanation.
But with this, have you seen
difficult?
Have you seen the map that shows? Oh, I forget what it's called. The Peters map. The
Ball Peters.
I think it's Peterson map or Peters map, where Africa is actually twice the size that it actually.
Oh yeah, that's called the Ball Peters map.
And so they distorted all the sizes of everything for geopolitical and psychological reasons. And
well, actually, this is what. Okay, so if you do believe the Earth is round, which you don't, but I'm just going on a tangent as if I'm talking to a guy that believes the Earth is round. Mathematicians proved in the 1700s that nothing round can be projected onto a sphere. Try this yourself. Go buy one of those exercise balls, then stab it to death, and then try to make it a flat map. You can't without being wrinkles and distortion. It just simply can't. Just have an orange pear and just try to flatten it. You can't. You just simply can't. Well, you can, but there'll be distortion to it. Okay.
You don't know what 2D means.
Yeah, it's impossible to put a 3D sphere into a 2D flat map. Okay. So what Gall Peters did is that it saved the size of the continents, but it messed up their shape. So it made them it makes it look like Africa had a Tyson punch to the chin. So now it's like its face is all crunched. So yeah, that's the actual explanation for why Africa and all the continents look like this.
So you do understand that there are controversies about maps. Like if you go to the USGA, they have tons of maps that show different things. And this is actually one of the maps that they present for shipping navigations. So for shipping navigations, they've been using the AE map.
I've actually done a lot of research into that map. Kind of have a limited amount of time, so we can only talk on this for a while. But actually, you remember that distortion thing I was talking about? Well, assuming the Earth is round, which you don't believe, and instead it was the exact reverse happening. Actually, you know those little navigation longitude, latitude lines on your thing, on your map? The little lines going across it. That's the only planes with distances are right. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Those flight times. Okay, you know what I mean? Okay.
Right. Well, see, like with this map and with this clock that I made, and I wish I had the money to put it together. But I can look at this clock. If you put your latitude on the noon, then let's just say here's noon. Oh wait, no. Here's noon. So let me put my latitude on it real quick. I
I have my mouse cursor, so I can like picture that.
Here. All right. Yeah, see, I was trying to open this in my Photoshop and what I made it in, and it didn't quite work. And that's what crashed.
Yeah.
Crashed before we got started. So let me see if we can see this.
Okay.
All right.
I see it.
All right, but hold on. I gotta. Let me click on this so it's what you can see. All right. So I live in Florida. It's noon. Okay, this is the latitude that I live on right here. At noon, the sun is right above me. It's either on in summertime, it's on this red line. In fall and spring, it's on this green line. And in wintertime, it's on the blue line. So the sun is always moving out and in, moving around 24 hours a day, but it's always corkscrewing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the sun's here at noon for me, and then I can look at 11 o'clock. So that's what time.
So they kind of made a sundial.
Oh, no, at midnight. This is midnight for me right here.
Yeah.
If I follow down that latitude and get on the red line, it will be noon exactly right there, even on a globe. It'll work perfect. I've already done it. I've done it for like several days in several places. So like I have people around the world, and like, okay, I'm like, all right, so it's 4 o'clock in the morning for me right now. Is it noon for you? Is the sun right above your head? Yes, it is. Okay. Wow, this map is working out. So with a map like this on your wall, you could look at it, and whatever time, it's on the 24-hour clock, whatever time it is, you could see exactly where the sun is directly over at noon. The Bible calls that the heat of the day. When the sun's directly over you and that beam of light is coming directly down on you. So at noontime, between 10 and 2 is basically the heat of the day. That's when the spotlight of the sun is coming directly over a certain place. So in the wintertime, it's going over here. And in the summertime, it's going over here. It's making a tighter screw.
There actually is a name for the time period. It only happens one place in America, though. It's called the prime meridian. That's the only time you can see the sun directly above your head. And it can only be seen on the equator. Okay? On Hawaii. The only place it can be seen in America is Hawaii.
Well, see, that's okay. And I agree with you. Well, actually, no. Right down here. Right down here, the very south, the Keys have that. The Keys will have that too. But you're right. You're absolutely right about that. Because look at where this red line goes. That's as close as it gets to us ever. And then in the wintertime, when the sun's in the south, it's always way out here. And so you have to be out in the ocean to be able to look straight up at it. So you're right about what you're saying. You're just incorrect on how you're getting to your conclusion.
Yeah, I'm not that good at navigational systems at all. So let's move on to my next point of belief. Yeah. Also, there's a guy in the chat who actually works for satellite. So I just thought I would say that.
The Shadows crew that's
Yeah.
That is proof it's a sphere.
Right. Well, the satellites, while I have friends that...
Well, we're going to talk about satellites, and we're going to talk about satellites, NASA, conspiracy, why, all in one giant chapter, okay? That will probably be long. So that just will be. So I'm going to move on to my next point of evidence, the sun and moon. If you are breathing, functional breathing, you have seen the sun or moon at least once in your life, okay? So what I'm saying is this. I'm also, before I bring up the sun and moon, I'm going to say something about the planets, and I'm just going to bring this up real quick. I'm going to play Occam's razor. You know what Occam's razor is? The most obvious is probably true. Okay, good. So I'm just playing Occam's razor. I have seen Jupiter. I have seen Jupiter. That's the only planet I've seen in detail with my own eyes. And I've seen stars with my own eyes. And I can tell you, stars and planets look nothing alike. They look similar in a zoom in from far away. But when you zoom in, you soon realize they're very, very different objects.
What were you talking about? The sun should be visible from every place if it's a flat Earth. What was the answer?
So, you're muted.
Oh, well, I didn't know what exactly the question was. I was waiting.
I was just going to say this, that if that's the case, which is what I see, my eyes I'm not hallucinating. I know what I saw. Then I'm just saying maybe if I play Occam's razor here, I'm just saying maybe, just possibly, they're not similar objects at all. I'm just saying.
Simulated, you mean?
Similar.
Oh, okay.
Not similar objects at all. Because a planet. Hold on.
Saying similar? Okay. So we did move on to stars. Do you want to know why the sun can't be seen at certain times
That's the first question you had. Right?
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that just in a
He
second.
wants to show you something.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Okay, so the stars, from the stars, there is not a telescope on this Earth. Not even the Lucifer telescope that the Vatican own in Arizona can look at a planet and see the image of it. Every planet has the stars. Now, some people will say, I've seen the rings around Saturn.
And I have.
Okay. Well, there's not a, if you have, there's not a telescope powerful enough.
Well, except for these images, which were taken by home people.
Well, see, but here's the thing. I can show you Egyptian, and it's occultic. Saturn has had rings around Saturn ever since they accredited it to Jehovah God.
Well,
so hold on. And this rings around Saturn. It goes back a couple thousand years. So my thing is whether people say they can see the rings or not, Saturn has had these rings mythologically long before any science equipment was ever established or created.
One of my guys that are in my church know a lot about Greek mythology, so I'll ask him about that later. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm not hallucinating. I saw things like this. And if you look closely, you can see little things around Jupiter. They look like moons around Jupiter. As I search more and more.
I agree. There are lights around the light. They're the wandering star of Jupiter does have a company. You are absolutely right. My point is that it's always light. Everything's light. Everything you see from NASA is admittedly CGI. So they don't have any pictures.
I've heard this one so many times. And you know what? You know what? Forget the chapters. Let's just get right into this NASA are lies. I know the exact quote you're saying. It's photoshopped, but it has to be.
No.
I mean, that's what you're talking about?
I mean, I'm not talking about the Earth. Well, what you're talking about there is the Earth, where they talk about they need the streams from the satellites going over because they don't get it big enough, and then they got to put it together. But that's the Earth. I'm saying NASA admittedly says every picture they have of other planets is CGI.
Yeah.
And yes,
that's a claim. Let's show me. You can share your screen. I'll stop mine.
Well, you don't have to stop sharing your screen in order to do so. But let's see. I don't really want to go to NASA's website. You can do that, and when you click on images, the majority of them in the bottom right-hand side say computer composite, and it'll give a date usually and an item number because it's all computer generated. So, oh, did you drop out? Is it just me? Oh, okay. I guess we're having technical issues, everybody. I just realized I was looking at my screen and I looked up and there's no James. So we'll give him a minute to pop back in and we'll get back at it. But I hope you guys are enjoying the conversation. The chat here.
He pulled the whole thing collapsed.
Yeah, a pop-up ad popped up, but the exit screen for that was right where your closing screen was.
Sorry
so I
that.
accidentally hung up on you on the most inconvenient time humanly imaginable. That's right when we were about to get into the good debate.
No worries. No worries at all. All right. So,
let's see go.
So okay, what am I answering again? Because I stopped. Yeah. I was looking up something.
CGI. You're claiming that all.
So I was saying okay. I was saying I really don't want to go to NASA's website, but if you go there and click on the images in it, for the most part, most of them say computer generated with an item number.
Okay.
So
I'll go to NASA's website. Yeah.
And I mean, they'll.
Just outright fake, or do they just say Photoshop?
Computer generated images just means that they needed a computer to generate the image. You know, it's not on a film, and it leaves it to be. Did they send it from, millions of miles away in space, or did they make it in Photoshop? Either one could be a computer generated.
Well, I'm not going to talk about planets, even though that's what I'm interested in. But I'm going to bring up a photo manipulation website. That's not Photoshop. It shows if there is digital modification. And I'm going to open up one of the Earth photos, okay? So, I'll just do Mars, okay? I'll just do some Mars images. How about this one? Okay. Fuse image feature. Oh, wait, I totally forgot. I didn't. Okay, so you can see what is on my screen right now, right?
Yes.
So I'm on NASA's website.
Oh, wait, no, not anymore.
No, it says NASA at the top.
Well, I don't see your screen anymore.
That's weird. Hold on. Oh. Well, maybe my screen was on this whole time. Hold on. Oh, yeah, it was already on this whole time. Okay. Now can you see? Can you see, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let me go back. This is NASA. NASA's at the top right. Okay. And
Wait, now I can't, James. Now I can't see anymore. Like you show it to me and then it disappears. It goes back to you.
Oh, okay. Oh, when I go full screen, I bet it just shuts off the screen share. So, you can see right now.
No, all I see is you.
Yeah.
Well, just tell them what it is. Tell them to go to the site and what you're looking at.
Okay. Also, if it's been through a computer, well, that's just pointing out the obvious. It's coming from space. It would have to go through some computer or some processing to process it.
Right, but that image that you showed me just then, I could plainly see that it wasn't a photograph. That it was.
So you're saying that all the planets were basically just made up, like all the pictures of the planets, none of them are based on an actual photograph taken. They're not just contrasted.
Correct. They are all based on
photos of Mars. We don't have any real photos of anything.
Correct. All those photos.
All scientists in the world get in like one giant group because they're all independent. They're not all in one group, like all keeping a secret in one secret society. I mean, there's
not enough. The thing is those images of the planets have been out and been being pushed for 300-400 years, long before. And actually, like what I was saying, Saturn's rings go back to Greek mythology.
How do I see them through a telescope? How do I see them?
That's what I'm saying. You don't really. All you see is light. What planets are stars. Planets are stars. They're brighter than normal stars.
I have seen them. You can see them through like the ones at the observatory, the Griffith Observatory in LA. You can see details of them. Mars has that. Remember, they had that face thing. They said that was all. And they covered that whole thing up. So you don't believe that's a whole different story about believing if Mars is real and all that. But I mean, if
but it will get in. It will get into the Great Deception and the purpose of the.
What?
Why?
I mean, they all believed the Earth was flat for a long time, and then the Greeks came out about 2500 BC. They built, what was it, wells, Jim? Like on 3 different places on the world, and they timed it the exact same time, drew the shadows, and saw, based on the shadows, that it was a spherical Earth. That's how they figured it out, that it was round back in 2500 BC.
Well, because they there's a couple of things wrong there. Like it would work for a sun being a certain distance away.
Yeah,
that's why they said it was. That's why they said it was 3 million miles away back then.
For 2 wells, but 3 wells, it just wouldn't work. And this is what we're trying to get into. This is you're claiming this is CGI. I know you claim that all planets are fake. All planet images are fake from NASA.
Yeah, that's definitely CGI.
Oh well, I'm on photo forensics. It was actually made by a guy who knows hacking, and that means he knows a lot about image manipulation. And he made this website where you can upload files and it will show digital modification. Okay? Processing. That doesn't mean immediately it's a reality detector, but it shows if it's even gone through processing. Okay? And I have done this website again and again. I have checked the rules. And let's see what it looks like under the manipulation. Not manipulation. I meant to say under the image manipulation finder. Nothing. Nothing. It found nothing. The little thing the thing that was trying to find any signs of CGI at all found nothing. That's... Oh, I am very sorry if I sound rude. I'm trying not to be. But
well, I think I'm trying to understand exactly what you're saying. So you're saying with that makes the image... that's more talking about graphic, like if there's an image on top of an image.
Well,
if you look at it, it shows that the image was made. It's not just blank. So it is there. Everything's there.
No, it wouldn't matter if it's not blank. Hold on, let me read the tutorials. It'll give me a little thing on my data about how this works. Okay.
Well, this will be a lot, but what it's showing is if there was no manipulation at all, then you wouldn't see.
No CGI.
The whole thing is, it's like, can you not look at it and see that it's not a photograph?
Well, that's not evidence. Saying it, pointing at it and saying it looks fake is not evidence.
Do you think? Hold on. Do you think that? Because I know you know about it. Do you think there's a car in space right now?
Oh yeah.
You do?
I know it sounds ridiculous, but
well,
hey,
and the reason why it's real is because it looks so fake, right?
Well, yeah, but so don't atoms seem realistic till you learn about electricity and all this other sciencey stuff about atoms.
I know, but you heard that he said that, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that was like just shoving it in our face the way I look at it. But okay, so all right. I thought, do you believe the moon landing's real?
And yes, and oh boy, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm gonna turn off my share screen just for a moment so I can find what I'm trying to find. And I don't want to show you what I watch because I like to be private. I like to.
No worries, but you got.
Okay, now I'm sounding inappropriate.
You
okay.
You still have your screen share. Okay, there you go.
I didn't want to insult you by making you wait a second.
Okay.
Oh no, that's no worries, no worries. I'm just trying to keep it for viewership, keep it rolling, but not insulting me at all.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Moon landing couldn't be fake. It was by a YouTube channel called Adam Ruins Everything. I'm not sure.
I know, and I've seen it. I've seen all this stuff. I know all that stuff that's out there. So you do believe in the moon landing? I'm just trying to really get exactly where you're coming from.
There's a whole website dedicated to debunking people that don't believe the moon. The moon.
Oh, of course there would be. Of course there would be. We're talking about the biggest deception in all mankind.
Yeah.
So
and speaking of that, all this lies, millions, literally on the scale of millions, and believing that the Earth is flat and all this stuff is true. That means, whatever that guy's name is that works in satellites must also be a liar. Every guy that works in satellites ever is a liar. Every NASA employee ever is a liar. So many people are a liar. They will go to such a big conspiracy.
You don't have to go that far, James. It doesn't take that. I mean, there's a lot of people.
Why?
But it's not everybody. It's
my question is why? Why would you try so hard? Hide it.
Because of the reason for this. One of the reasons why I don't talk about this often is because what I've realized is the same person, or it's not even a person, we're talking about the Prince of Darkness here, the same entity that went to hide God's creation of just how direct it is, the same entity that hid it is the same entity that's disclosing it right now. So when this gets revealed to the public as truth, it's going to be presented, I believe, from the Antichrist himself. And so it will be used for a couple of different reasons. One of the main reasons why the ball issue was pushed in the first place, though, was to culminate with the end, this to culminate when whatever you call it, the end days. But to get there, one of the first things that needed to be done was they needed to get distrust in the Bible. They needed to get millions of years. They needed to get, for evolution to be possible. Without having a big bang and a long story, you can't have evolution. Without evolution, you don't have anything to counter the Bible and creation.
Well, I know exactly what you're going to say.
So do you believe in aliens?
Okay, it depends on what you mean by alien. Do you mean alien about the sense that there's aliens here on Earth, or just somewhere out there on a distant galaxy?
Either one. Either one. Pick or choose.
Yes, I believe the aliens exist. Somewhere far. No, I don't think aliens are demons.
What? I've told you that since you were a kid.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we'll see. Actually, but no, James, this is actually the biggest point of it. You really want to know why?
Why?
Is because they want to push the agenda, the possibility that extraterrestrial aliens are even possible or probable. So the fact that you do believe that aliens are far away is that you've actually fallen for the deception that the world is pushing, because I believe the Antichrist and the Great Deception is going to be with a fake alien invasion. Like what your mom said, these things are demonic. They're spiritual in nature. They're interdimensional. They're not extraterrestrial. But when they get
That's
here,
not the alien I was thinking about. I was just thinking of another organism, even it's like a bacteria living on.
I hear you, but that's what that is a crack to put your foot in the door. If there is a little bacteria just a little way far away, now you probably do you believe in a young 6,000-year Earth?
No, because radiometric dating
Right. I understand science is going to always give you great evidence, great facts that are going to be able to, with your physical eyes, you're always going to be able to see a way that will disprove the Bible. So I do believe the Bible is clear and concise on that it's only 6,000 years old. Like, even if I look at radiocarbon dating or any of the things that they want to show me, I'm not going to let it supersede that I've got Adam and Eve and I've got genealogies and I can run it through. I can do the math myself. It's only about 6,000 years old. And so in order for this great deception to take place and for everybody to believe, because I think that a good alien race, now remember these are demonic spirits, it's spiritual wickedness. I believe in the end times, and I think you're going to be alive for it, dude. My daughter's going to be alive for it, I think, too, and you guys are the same age. So when this alien deception comes, they're going to say, hey, we're the good guys. We're here to help. We actually helped create this petri dish, because that's basically what the snow globe is. Like, they're going to say that they created us. And if you look in the flat earth communities, James, what I'm speaking about right now, more than half of the people are preaching this. They believe the flat earth, and they believe aliens seeded us in this snow globe. It's like the Antichrist system in religion, just right here with the flat earth.
Well, so you're saying that NASA is the devil organism trying to hate God. roughly. I might be exaggerating.
Well, it's NASA. Yes, NASA was put in place to.
Well, I can kind of. Oh. I'm gonna let you finish your sentence. All right.
Right. I was trying to answer your question. I forgot what I was saying. I will pause and let you respond. But the with NASA, if you look at it, I know it's National Aviation Space, whatever. But NASA, spelled the same way, is the Hebrew word for deceive. And the symbol for NASA is a split or a forked tongue. And so I think that the spiritual wickedness, the things that they do, they hide it in plain sight with the symbolism. So if I showed you all the astronaut patches, I would show you some satanic symbols all in them. Like there's tons of them. So I think that it's all just a system to discredit the Bible. Yeah, but go ahead.
Okay, so I think I have a way to debunk that. I know you calling me crazy right now for a spot, but look at this. I went to NASA's Q&A, official questions and answers. I'm currently trying to find that one, but I haven't. But one of them was, can I believe the Genesis theory of creation? They did not say it was wrong, but they did not say it was right. They just had a blank opinion on it. So no, they don't want to not have God, but they don't want to have him. But
you can't.
They want to hate him.
I hear you, but they're not going to come out. The devil doesn't come out at you with a not pitchfork and horns. The devil comes at you with the things that you like and want to hear.
Oh wait, how do you know what how do you know? Hold on, let me show you something. No, not preferences. Hold on. So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, he thinks my friend wants
Yeah. Okay, so.
No, I can't see your screen yet. It's just you.
Oh. So, hold on. I'm trying to share my screen.
So the main reason for the conspiracy, the main reason for the lie is because it is spiritual. All right, now your screen sharing.
Okay. So you see the NASA symbol. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, you may see different, but all I see, it looks like chopsticks, red chopsticks. Nobody's walking around saying that chopsticks look like devil's tongues.
No. What the red thing is, they look like chopsticks. But can you tell me what is it just a thing to add color to the design? Is it just uniquely shaped the way that it is, having one side bigger than the other? Or is it trying to resemble something? Which I believe,
I believe it's trying to resemble something. It looks like fumes coming from a rocket. I'm honest. I think that's what they were going for. Fumes coming out of a rocket. I wanted to explain the orbit around.
Have you seen the snake tongue?
What's he saying?
Yeah, I've seen a snake tongue.
Oh,
No, but have you seen the NASA snake tongue? Like, if you put in NASA snake tongue and look at that image.
Oh, yeah. I have.
I'm more looking at.
Oh, it's just a bunch of conspiracies. Okay, now some of this stuff is just outright silly.
Well, I hear you, but what I'm telling you here is that the main reason for it is a spiritual, straight up satanic conspiracy. It is a conspiracy,
and why would they make it the Earth being round? And why would they make something like the Earth being round? Such a random idea. Why not why not God doesn't exist and this was an accident? And that would be atheism. Or shame on
That's what that leaves the door open for. For the first 15 or the
I just think it would be hard to keep a conspiracy of literally possibly millions.
I would say tens of thousands.
But still,
Tens of thousands.
I can't believe that I didn't eat the chocolate, and that's just me. Let alone if I told 100,000 people.
I hear you, and that's where I was until I was 27 years old. It was when I was 27 years old when I was like, wow, I've been lied to about what? My presupposition just got exploded. I didn't realize that. I thought I had everything down. And then when I realized, call me a conspiracy theorist all you want.
I'm still listening.
Oh, no, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that when I learned that 9/11 wasn't what I had thought it was, because I was really contemplating, am I going to go into the military? I wanted to, I fell for the what they said, hook, line, and sinker. I know you're a little too young to really understand this, but when I understood that I had been lied to about such a dire and drastic thing, what I did was I decided all I wanted to do was know truth.
Well,
and I didn't care if it was.
I don't know exactly how you're pacificating, but my emphasis on that you were told it was a lie. How could they hold alive 17,000 people, that's how many NASA employees they are, to 2,000 years? Because it would have to date back to antiquity, because that's when
but no, that's not true either, James, because it wasn't until they went up to the moon up the first time where the debate of whether the earth was flat or round was finally put to rest. You can go and you can look at, in colleges, there were debates in the 20s and in the 30s and in the 40s. People were arguing what I'm saying right now, because
they're outright wrong. By the time of Christopher Columbus's day, even people thought it was common knowledge the earth was round.
I'm not saying that it wasn't common knowledge. What I'm saying is that there has been always educated people. You asked why go to the ball? Because the ball and the circle, the mathematical numbers both work out the same.
And
they both work out.
And I'm going to tell you something that will make me probably think I will never possibly believe the flat Earth theory. Okay.
You need to let him finish the numbers.
I will. But I'm going to tell you something. I have known everything to know about. I've been trying to know all I can about space for nearly the past 7 years of my life. That's nearly all I've lived for, okay? And to just see some person, I'm not saying that you're just some person, but to see a human being just call this, the thing I love, the thing I saw for Christmas gift that gave me the biggest smile of my life, is just wrong. Just wrong. It's conspiracy. It's lies. That's like saying.
James, I know it's James. I know what it's saying. I wanted to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got into high school to where I didn't feel the exact same way you did. Like, I have the Naval Aviation Museum here, and they've got all this space stuff there that I got to go look, and I was just as gung-ho, know all the planets, know all James, my generation was probably a little bit more pushed on than yours. You're probably one of the few in your generation that have such a gung-ho about it. But the people above my generation, they were even worse. So the thing is I went through, I loved it so much, and it was just as shocking and heartbreaking for me to be able to be like, all that was a lie. But when I realized it was a lie to hide God, then it all made sense. I was like, ah. So,
yeah, I'm just we believe in that we know the prince of the power of the air is, and we know that he does own. He's the little G God of this world right now, and we know there's going to be a great deception. That if it were possible, even the elect would be deceived. But I mean, I've seen all of them leaving it to him, but I still got like science issues for me. I still can't get around a lot of just basic things that make perfect sense, that some questions just still can't be answered. And I've been watching the best like flat earth debaters like for hours and hours, and I still can't buy the answers they give me. It doesn't seem to work. And I mean, like I knew the astronaut dude, and he welled up with tears when he told me how he saw the earth. I mean, I just can't believe he'd lie to me in my face, tearing up with how much it touched him. And he even gave God credit for it. He was like, in the beginning, God, you know, that was breathtaking, and his glorious, you realize, you know, how amazing his creation is. So I just
no, I agree with you. And like we said at the beginning, this is not a big deal at all. But I would admonish the whole alien thing. That is a big deal.
Oh, he
because
no, he knows. I said no, because if there's aliens on other planets, they fell when we fell, and that's not fair. God wouldn't allow that to happen.
Wouldn't have died. Okay, very, very good, because that's one of the reasons why they're pushing. Because most people, if aliens are real, then the Bible can't be true. No, because that's actually true.
Fallen interdimensional beings. I have told him they leave in the name of Jesus. They break the laws of physics because they're not bound to our dimension. He knows about that, but he just chooses to. He likes his imagination. I've told him.
I hear you, but that is the what the world, the schools is all pushing.
Like an agenda.
Right. It's the agenda that they are trying to mold our children into accepting. For I believe is going to be the great deception.
So do I.
Now, if everybody knew the whole time that we were in a enclosed dome system, evolution, millions of years would have never been able to come into play.
Yeah,
evolution would have never been able to come into play.
Well, I can prove.
I see how it works together. I see what you're saying, that you have to set it up in order for it to have existed. But there's also many people that believe gap theory. They believe because it says in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, period. Then it says without form and void, and then it talks about the 6,000 years man was put here. So some people there were other things here before man.
I know, but that actually goes into.
There's a loophole for those people. Yeah.
Right. I think that they're just trying to give in to the world and not really stand on the word of God. Those gap theory people.
That's possible, but I wanted you to know that I have taught him about this. These are very real entities. I believe they play good cop, bad cop. I saw people in the occult conjure UFOs at will. So I have told him all this stuff. It's very real, but it's physical, but it's of a spiritual realm, and it just manifests here.
Correct. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. And I believe I believe this conversation, James, you and I are having, will help when these things happen. But you'll be like, wow, that's what Mathias was talking about. Here these guys are trying to say they're extraterrestrial and that we live on a flat disk. So I do believe that's going to be the deception that's going to be revealed to everybody as the shock and awe to, really put forth the Antichrist system.
So you're saying the deception is that it's round, but they are going to look like good guys because they reveal the truth of it being a disc. That's what you're saying.
Well, you see what they're going to, if you look in the occultic view of the flat earth, is that you have the earth here, but think of an egg carton. You got another flat earth here and another flat earth here. Another flat Earth here with infinite space in between them, you know, depending on where they are. And those alien entities, they're just like big petri dishes, like what you have in a science lab.
Credit for creation.
Correct. It goes right into Luciferianism. And this is what they're going to present as truth, but really it's not an egg carton everywhere and all these different creations. It's just the one right here, single, separate, God looking down above. But they're going to, you know, they're going to reveal that we've been lied to about the globe, present this, but then present this as multiple choices. The multi-universe will fit into all this stuff.
I've heard all that, because that's actually what I specialize in, the New Age.
It's New Age, exactly. Well, you look into it, you go into the flat Earth communities. This is why I go in there, to try to pull those New Agers. I try to pull those New Agers and pull them to the Bible, because most flat Earthers are actually occultists and believe
I didn't know that.
The alien thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that. My only thing was to I didn't ever wanted to even get into this subject because it's so divisive, and I've had people get mad on my channel because I won't believe it. I still got too much stuff, and it's not going to get resolved tonight. But the only point was that you don't have to believe it to be a Christian, because I'm seeing people going, well, if that's what the Bible says, there's no way I believe anything it says. So I just want to say I'm a Christian. No. And I'm not convinced that we're in a domed flat. It just defies every physical. I believe God put physical laws in this universe because he's a God of order. And that would just break all those physical laws. I just can't seem to get there. So I just wanted to, the only reason I did it is, for one, to support him so he could talk to you, and I'd cover those verses as he asked. And also to just say, please don't let us cause division, because the one thing I get beat up for is the gospel, and that's the one thing I'm willing to get beat up for.
It won't cause division between us. Like if people look, Daniel and I have been flat earthers as long as TD has been a channel.
You got nice though. Other people that claim to be Christian, or maybe even are Christian, have just been horrible because I refuse to believe it. You know, I'm not there yet. They need to let me have what I want. Truth. I don't care if it's flat around. I want truth. You get what I'm saying?
Amen. So, that's where I was.
So many people be ugly to me and to other people on my channel because we're so deceived. We just don't get the real knowledge, and it just causes problems. And I just don't think it's an issue that needs to be divisive in the church. You know?
No, not at all. For true brethren, it should never be divisive. But sadly, many people get in the flesh, or we got a lot of false brethren too. Yeah.
And I don't want people thinking I was trying to make them wrong. I'm not trying to make them wrong. I'm just saying this is where I am and why. You know what I mean? I'm not making them wrong. I'm just saying this is why I believe it. So,
amen.
So,
what you got, Jane?
So tonight was not what I expected. I thought it was going to be much more of a structured debate, but halfway in, I just kind of broke down and get it right to the good stuff.
Right. Well, no. Whatever questions you got
left, because it is currently 11:21 right here. So I need to get to bed. So I'm just going to get these two things off my chest. I think I can prove gravity. Because I have Googled objects falling in a vacuum. And if it's just density, as you claim, they would just stand there. Do nothing. But nope, they still fall.
Oh, that's incorrect. The vacuum's not going to mess with the density. It's just going to take the air out of the chamber.
Yeah, that means of course bringing it down. Density means it would be denser than the air. If there's no air, it would just
fall to the ground.
And when it falls to the ground, it would just stay there.
No. Okay, well, think about this. If gravity were as real as they say it is, then a bird flying right above the ocean, or a man in a kayak.
Basic physics, Mathias.
That's because they're lifting air below them.
Yeah.
but they are lifting air, but the gravity that's pulling down that water, depending on how deep that bird is flying away or how far away from the coast and how deep the water is.
That's just silly, Matthias.
Well, the gravity will then, what that means is the Earth can pick and choose how much gravity it wants to pull at any given place at any given time. It's not consistent.
Okay.
Another force pushing against the force of gravity when the bird takes off, and then the way his wings are actually hold it in place to glide on the air.
Why can gravity pull a balloon filled with
a balloon? Is because the lift created. Now, of course, I won't say that density and buoyancy don't affect anything in gravity. Okay, and I'm gonna explain why helium balloons go up. That's because they are lighter than air, and that creates lift, and that lift will be stronger than gravity. Okay.
There you go. You got it. But wait. Stronger than So I'm just wondering, how is that lift stronger than gravity? Because we can measure it.
Okay. I'm not a gravity.
The thing is, birds and planes are basic physics. They work against it. But if you put the wings down, they fall right to the ground. So that's just a matter of physics and buoyancy.
Oh, that's aerodynamics and stuff like that. I'm talking about the density of a balloon.
Yeah.
Even to a hot air balloon, all you need is to heat the air up.
But here's the air is heavier than the helium, and the gravity pulls the air down, so the helium floats.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But what about hot air? Hot air changes the density. Hot air makes it expand.
I'm not a scientist, and I will never say.
How do you explain the zero-G things, like when they do the space capsules, which I know you say they're not really in space, but what are they taking out of the environment to allow the water and the toothpaste and everything to float midair, or as they're floating inside those capsules when they're in the space station? Even if you don't think they go out to space, they're above the gravitational pull is less and less and less.
I'll send you, there's plenty of videos where they messed up with their CGI.
The water beads, as the astronaut's going to do his toothbrush, isn't really floating. The water beads aren't floating. It's all CGI. He's not floating.
Right. I'll show you images where, like, you don't think anything's in the image with them, and then they like catch something, but nothing came across. They just CGI'd it in.
I work in movies. Do you know how much money that would cost? It would be billion. It would cost more than that's worth. And then we got hours of footage of these astronauts just floating in their little thing. I mean, hours and hours of this footage. And you see the water. He puts a little bit of water on the toothbrush. The water beads up. He grabs his toothbrush, puts it on. He's floating himself. All of those things floating. And
right. But those videos is what I'm saying. I can show you several dozens. God bless you.
Okay.
Show you dozens where they're harnessed.
I know it. I've seen so many.
So all these astronauts are literally faking for hours these little movements, a continuous stream of what they're doing. And it's that would cost so much money to do that.
But it would, but it wouldn't, because like I'll show you. I'll get a whole bunch of NASA.
Before CGI, We've got footage.
No, I know, but I'll get them with all their hands inside their, inside their chest.
Well,
they're
you can find little mistakes here or there, or things that may have been faked, or maybe not. Maybe it looks like it was fake. You can find a few of those.
Yeah, if you look
but
hard
we
enough
got stuff. Back then, we only had 8mm, 16mm, and 35mm film. And
right. But what I'm saying is, even back then,
that could not have been faked.
Yeah,
not
I'm saying right now that they even posed for showing that they were all in a club. Like everybody who's an astronaut. There's not anybody who's been an astronaut that wasn't a 32nd degree Mason.
Yeah, I know. I know that a lot of people, anybody with a super amount of success will be either Skull and Bones, Freemason, because that's how they network. They're all in those groups. I know all about that.
And they
My
know.
whole point was not to say that astronauts are fake or not. My point was, if you're in an area with zero gravity, the density object will not fall to the floor. It actually floats because there's no gravity there. My whole point was they're removing the gravity out of the area.
Actually, Mathias, only 12. That's fine.
It wasn't to say space travel's real. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the gravity was removed from the atmosphere. That's what's different, not the density of the object.
Only 12.
Right. I can't buy it. It's not working.
Just only 12 astronauts were confirmed Freemasons.
No, every single one.
Because I've tried to search every.
He did do a search on that and only found that 12 of them were confirmed.
Yeah. I have.
But I've already told him, if you're going to be anything successful anywhere, like really, really big, most of them are in those clubs.
And those people are laughing at us because they're like, haha, we know the shape of the Earth. We're making them. It is a big, like, gloating thing.
Like, I actually know the dude. You know, I can't. That's just too. I don't know.
Okay, hold on. And I know what I'm gonna show you, and you're probably gonna call it Fish Islands, but
Brooke, I can't. It's too much.
Yeah. Okay. I'll show you some weather balloon footage, and I'm nearly certain you'll say it's a Fish Islands, right?
T-minus 60 seconds.
Most likely, that's what they use a lot. I would.
Yeah.
One of the ways that I would like to see.
If you have a basic understanding of photography, it's because I can explain a lot. Fish Island is only work. I can't really explain how they work. I'm not a photographer, but I was told this.
They're to photograph larger areas before we had the capability.
What I'm trying, you can see my screen, right? Okay.
No.
Whenever I try to go full screen, it always it just doesn't like me doing that anymore.
I can't do that. We went from why I can't accept the flat Earth to all the people I know are lying in the whole world. Like I can't.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think everybody's lying. I think that very few. I would think thousands, maybe 10,000. But for the most part, everybody just is going with what they've been told their whole life.
You really think Buzz Aldrin looked me in the eyes, teared up to tell me the glory that he saw when he was in space, just overwhelmed by it?
Was he lying the other day when he told a little girl that they didn't go?
No, I heard that.
Was he joking?
He said, we don't go. He said, why don't we go again?
No.
I heard it. That was out of context.
I heard the whole thing.
He said because we never went in the first place.
No. Go ahead and tell them what happened. I saw it.
I'm going to tell you something real quick. Yeah, I need to get this crossed. SpaceX is building this rocket. It may just look like a normal rocket to you. It looks fake. But this will be capable of Earth-to-Earth transportation. That means... I'm telling you what... I'll explain that later, okay? So I just need to talk about this, okay? Matthias, I need to get this off of my chest.
That's fine, but you're gonna go into Earth to Earth, as in we're gonna go to a different planet and start living on it?
No. Okay. You know planes? You know how they work? They fly from Earth to Earth, like a point on Earth to another point on Earth. This is what a rocket will do.
I got you. Okay.
$400 on a ticket. It'll start doing this in the 2020s. And what I'm trying to say is this, is that it will be possible of doing this. And I'll also do some stuff about Mars and stuff. And I think by the 2030s, space will become so real, you cannot... Okay, I'll show you this little video they made of it.
He doesn't believe any of it.
Are you seeing? This is not real, but it's just a simulation of what it would look like. Okay. This is what I'm trying to get across. Okay, some boat stuff. The rocket. Nothing special. and then it launches. And what it does, okay, what I'm trying to say is that it will launch from, say, New York, and it will land in Shanghai. You can go to space for $400. If that is not a ticket to space, I have no clue what is.
I hear you, James, and I would say in that same time frame, you will either know who the Antichrist is and know that the Earth is flat, or we'll be flying around in space with you, with Elon Musk. I mean, so if the Bible's true, then the Antichrist will be here within 100 years, no later. I think it's gonna be much, much, much sooner. And I think what's that?
Like next year or 10 years?
Could be.
When Damascus gets totally destroyed,
that's what I'm waiting for. That's the same sign I'm looking at.
We'll know that we'll have anywhere between a few months and a couple years before the Antichrist will come on the scene. When the Antichrist comes on the scene, we have less than 7 years before Jesus cracks the sky open, and we're done with this place, little brother.
I hope so. Good gracious.
Yeah.
There's so much lies and deception. It's like you can't believe anything anymore, and I just know this Bible is true, and that's the only thing I know. And I hate that everything is so messed up. And I don't believe every single thing in the world is a lie, and there's no, this wasn't even about whether space is real or not. I believe God created an amazing universe, and it gives him glory. It says he stretches out the heavens. So I believe that's real. It's actually there. But that wasn't even the issue of this. I think it just gives God glory. Look at this amazing. Every time I see it, all I do is get in awe of God's creation. Like, to shrink that down actually takes that from me. Because I look at it like, what an amazing creation he has. And who are we that he would even be mindful of us? I don't feel the opposite.
No, I hear you, and I hear you. And when I first got saved, that is how I looked at everything. From how big and vast the universe to how small and molecular. I get it. I have been there. But I don't think it's. I think it's actually.
Over here, Jim. I got to go.
I enjoy the difference of him being far away and actually having him really close. So
I know he's really close, but he doesn't have to be geographically. He peels the skies right there. We know because Stephen saw him.
Right. No, I know, but that's what I kind of take that as literal. And I can't explain it. He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be because
no matter where he is physically in his dimension, it doesn't have to be geographically, physically close in our dimension. Because he's not.
I understand. I understand. I understand that completely because, like I said, for the first 3.5, 4 years that I was saved, I believed the globe model 100%. It wasn't even on my radar that I could have been wrong about that.
We know it's dark for days at a time in some places on the earth. We know that stuff.
Well, when the sun is 6,000 miles away from you, you can't see it anymore.
Well,
that thing is so bright you would still see a dot in the sky. There's no way you wouldn't see it as bright as it is when it's near us.
No.
And then every day it comes up that we can predict where the stars will be, where the earth will be, where everything's in such order. But 6,000 miles
right.
the bright
what I'm saying is
I get burned by it. How could you not see it 6,000 miles away?
Okay, and also that's just an absolute lie. I've done the trigonometry myself, and it is not 6,000 miles away.
No, he's saying if it was, Jim.
Okay.
If it was.
But no, what I'm saying is since when I was on D13, we had a bunch of people all over the world.
Even a match lighting across the city, if it was pitch black, you'd see that tiny match light.
Well, no.
This is a giant hall.
Right. Well, see, you can sometimes see the reflection on the dome, yes. But look, if the sun's here, then it's noon for us. It is very late in the day for 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at 7 a.m. It's noon over this part of Africa.
You know what?
Hold on. But then at noon,
Attention.
At noon, this is actually dusk. So like when we have our noon, this is when their sun's going down. So whenever you get 6,000 miles away, when you get 6,000 miles away from the sun, is when you see it. So this is when you see the sun. Now, this is also why the very north part, this is more than 6,000 miles away. And this is the line that the sun makes in the wintertime. So in the wintertime, the north, it's no sunlight at all because it's more than 6,000 miles away.
You could easily see any light and darkness. Even at that distance, you
stop.
still perceive it.
Stop. Matthias, listen. Of all the flat earthers in the comments, all of you, listen closely.
All right, hold on one second.
Okay, what are you trying to say?
I'm sure.
They're not gonna believe it. It doesn't matter. They're all gonna see the photos fake.
All right, I'm listening.
I don't know what he's gonna show you.
So,
I don't
just
know. That does not make sense to me at all.
okay. How about this?
Can you see this? Here, wait. Can you see this? So how the sun is like a spotlight.
I already seen these models.
You'd still perceive it. I'd see it as a dot, really, really, really far away. Even if it didn't light my particular area, I'd still see it.
Well, not if the sun was over here.
Yeah, if it's far.
It would. This would. No, you wouldn't. Not with perception.
It's above me, and it's really far, but it's a light, and I'm in the darkness. Of course, you'd still perceive it.
Not when you understand the vanishing point. You can. Your eye can only see 12 miles away.
And it doesn't matter. You can see the light travels. The light travels. We're not looking at an object. We're looking at light, which travels fast. You can see it.
Okay.
All right. What is your point? What's your point? Because
you say they're not really real.
Okay. Here is my absolute proof that the Earth is round.
The thing is, Brooke,
this.
I can't use the argument that I can see stars.
This. And it's not just this photo in particular. It is this one, this one, this one. There's so many of these photos. This proves curvature. No argument about it. This has to. If this isn't proof of the Earth being at least curved, I have no idea what is.
Well, before you take pictures, because I wouldn't even accept pictures, and I believe the flat Earth. I went out and I did my own tests. So you don't need a picture in order to prove curvature or not. You can easily go out and depending on where you live, you're in. Where are you? You got some lakes around you or some bays.
Yes.
Live
right next to
So, I'll talk to your mom off air and I'll look at your geographic area and I'll set up a place where you guys can go do your own experiments.
Here's
if curvature is true, you'll be able to prove it yourself because pictures,
I don't know,
I believe, are all inaccurate.
You're telling me that I can't see more than 12 miles. Are you telling me the moon is 12 miles away from us?
No.
I can see that.
No. You can only see 12 miles horizontally, not vertically.
It can be exactly horizontal. How far away are they presuming the sun actually is above us?
No. I'm talking about you at 6 foot tall average.
Yeah, I get your concept here, but if the sun is up at a certain height,
it's less than 3,000 miles tall.
Okay, so if it's 3,000 miles above us and it's 6,000 miles away in darkness, I would still perceive that as a light source.
But
This does not work.
Well, what you're not understanding is once he gets past the vanishing point of your perception. Now, okay. Now I get, how about this? I do understand what you're saying. There have been rockets shot up at nighttime, and once you get high enough, even though it's pitch black where the rocket shot off, when you get up high enough above the horizon line, you can see the sun on the other side. Yes.
Yeah, there
are images of that. So you're right. But you have to be high enough. You can be at 6 foot tall.
Time zones, how we measure a day. I guess that changes too, because we don't measure it by 24 hours by the rotation. I don't know how we measure it. What do we measure it by? How do we measure a year now? The lunar calendar, right? Not sun.
Matthias.
And then like there's just too much. Like there's too many things that don't work. I'm not trying to say I like the heliocentric model. I could care less. It's just everything falls into place, and it's like science itself doesn't have an agenda. I don't understand why. I mean, I understand why you're saying they're doing it. Would you please turn that volume off? I'm trying to see it. It's not making sense in my mind at all that with the night, being 24 hours, how does that happen for Alaska? I mean, they go weeks at a time with days at a time, no sunlight.
Because the sun's more than 6,000 miles away from them for months at a time.
For months at a time, and they don't perceive any light. See, that just does not make sense.
No. They actually at certain parts of the day they do see the light at a distance, like what you're talking about.
That's why I don't discuss it, because it does not work. I'm trying to make it work in my mind, and it won't.
Matthias, you can see what's on my screen right now.
I get a headache trying to.
Yes.
Okay. I have seen no flat earther disprove this. Yet. How? I need an explanation. The people in the comments and you, Matthias, I need an explanation on how this works.
Well, for one, let me look at it. For one, I've seen images with this exact that don't get shaded in like that. Oh, that's your screen. I was clicking on another picture. But also I do know that there's something that's going across like this, but you're still looking at perception. But this looks definitely like I don't get the it looks like it's moving. Why does this picture? I've never seen one of these images look like it was moving like this.
This image is low quality. One of these are better. It's just because of the atmosphere scattering the light. It's a bunch of really complex stuff.
Well, but I've seen it. I've seen it clear as day, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And there's not this many of them. You do understand there's only one of these things in existence.
One of what?
These power lines going across, like, that's not real.
You
see, I'm saying good night, Jim. Can I say good night?
Yeah.
Right. No. Some of it's real.
You don't see me before he's done.
You saying it's not real is not evidence against it. That's just your denial.
But no, look at it. Look at it, James. I'm not saying that all of them are fake. I'm saying that one is definitely not. Like half of the majority of these the majority of these, like that one looks there. Oh, there was one that looked right on. Now look at that. That's not real.
What makes
Doesn't
this?
that come from the thing that hasn't been tampered with? Isn't that from the website where there's no tampering?
Yeah, there's nothing. What's so wrong with it?
Well, this shade. Look at it. There's.
Why would a
I know a
guy
lot
fake
about
this?
photography, and that's just weird.
What's that?
Why would a guy fake this? He's just a guy. He went to where these power lines were and took some photos. This isn't the only photo he took. He took this one. These are actually no. He didn't take just these. He took so many more. This.
Those aren't all the same. They're all different.
Because they're taken at different angles.
Well, okay, look at the design of the poles. Look at the distance between the poles.
Yeah.
They're all different.
He's just
Yeah, that's because
there's no
that's just because
evidence
of
that-
perspective. Why would they?
No, it's not perspective. Look at it deeply.
Okay, so we have
What is he
these.
saying isn't real? What's fake?
This is fake.
What
Thing-
is that? Isn't that from the site that says it's not?
No,
It's not.
no, I haven't. No, I
What,
haven't.
is it? What are you trying to show there?
The curve.
That's all light refraction in your eyes. That's just a natural way your eye would perceive something.
But if you look at the horizon, there's
Do you know how
more-
big the Earth is? You're not
well,
gonna
right,
see curvature.
right. But this what I'm saying is this image that you're looking at.
Yeah.
There's more distance east and west, prospectively looking, like from left to right, than there is from front to back, and there's no curvature from left to right.
You're
How
not
could
going to see a curvature on a you know how huge this Earth is. You're not going to see a curvature in a photograph of a distance that short.
Well, if you can see it one way, you're going to see it the other. Is my point.
No, you're looking at it from a different. If you do when you work with a director of photography, this is a whole separate thing. This is not straightforward. This is horizontal. This is not actually vertical. It's coming from another angle in that perspective.
No, but when I'm looking at the tree line in the back. Look at the tree line.
Right here with the poles.
Right, but look at the forest line at the horizon
What are
line.
you saying isn't real? I don't see what you're getting at.
There's much more distance left and right on this picture than there is between.
Because it's a 35 millimeter shot. It's going to be that way.
But how is there curvature going across the lake? And that's insane because there's a lighthouse.
I don't know.
There, wait, go back to it. Where are you going? There's a light. This is straight up fake.
That's normal right there. That's
There's a lighthouse out there.
I know. What is it? What is the curvature he's trying to say isn't there? Because I don't even see the curvature he's talking about.
Hold on.
What is this supposed to prove? I don't get it.
It's supposedly curvature, and you can tell that it's.
Hold on, Mathias. I'm trying to show.
Well, it doesn't matter. 'Cause even if it did prove it, he's just gonna say it's fake. There's no reason to argue.
Well, but what I'm saying is what I can do is I can look at the picture. If I have a straight horizon from left to right and supposedly a curve going over that horizon left to right, it's got to be fake.
No, it doesn't.
If there's no curve.
Yeah, but it is this. It's going from this direction. If it was going straight, you'd have a point, but it's going this way.
Okay, well, look at this with the power lines. They're supposedly curving down, and they start shifting around the curve.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna argue about it. What's the Earth is.
And then,
Doesn't matter what I tell you. Every picture is going to be fake. Every planet picture is fake. Everything we see in the media is fake. So these need to be taken out. Every document's fake because we can't trust them. So these shouldn't even be shown. It should just be what you can prove through basic science and the physics of it.
I agree. That's where I have boiled down to. Like, I'm only accepting the science I can reduplicate and prove. And when it comes to perspective, I didn't you should try to get a hold of not a doctor, a painter, who can really explain perspective and how they draw the vanishing point. And it doesn't matter if it's light or not. Once it's past the vanishing point, you can't see it.
If it is above me several times, okay.
Right, but that's where
Matthias.
that's where the 6,000 miles.
Just wrong. I'm sorry.
How about here? Well, let me put it to you this way. Well, let me put it to you this way. If
3,000
this
miles in the sky, and then it's double that amount that way, 6,000. It's double.
Right.
I can see it above me, 3,000 miles, right? I can
Correct.
see it fine. But I double that space, and I can't see any perception of that light source again, even though it's at a height.
well, you see it go. You see it go.
You have to look at these when you set up a shot. It's the same thing.
Well, if okay, well, put it this way. Put it this way. If the sun was 1,000 miles up, you would only be able to see it for 2,000 miles
Not
from
if
2,000 miles
it's
away.
light source. Not if it's a vague little black dot. But this is a light source we're talking about.
Well, okay, but what I'm saying is I can show you footage of rockets, amateur rockets that get shot up at nighttime, and when they get high enough, when they get past the vanishing point because they get to the right height, they can see the sun.
They're
Oh,
tiny.
let me see that footage.
The size light that we have of the sun is. I'm not gonna not perceive it. That is just crazy.
Okay, Mom.
That is not
Okay,
work.
okay. Matthias, I'm
I'm looking for it, James.
okay. Oh wait, I'll turn off my screen sharing. So
Oh, no worries. You don't have to. I haven't looked for flat Earth videos in such a long time. Let's see. Sun seen other side of flat Earth. Oh, I didn't pull it up.
Jim ran somewhere. Oh, I didn't want you to leave Mathias. You were talking. Oh.
I'm looking something up, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it as easy. I'm gonna have to look it up another time. Well, maybe I found it. Oh,
okay.
no.
I need to get to bed. So anyway.
Right. Well, we'll find it another time. And what we could do is set up a time, James, to talk on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yes. I'm sorry if I sounded really rude. I just like
Gets excited.
I get kind of frustrated sometimes.
No, you didn't sound rude at all. I enjoyed the conversation. In fact, I love your attitude, your personality. My daughter was in here watching for most of the time. We were laughing just with your just in how you act. I mean, it's just awesome. I love it.
Yeah, he's a personality. You can't. Yeah. He's like a little light, you know.
Right.
Good night.
And right, hey, well, James, don't listen to anybody. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to your teachers at school. And I'm gonna say it. Don't listen to your mom. Listen to the Bible.
Yeah.
Get in the Bible. You can read. You can read really well for your age. You get in the Bible and you get the knowledge, and ask God to reveal things to you, because there's way more things, way more important than what we talked about.
In there. He found atoms and dinosaurs. He does a lot. He finds a lot in the Bible.
Right. No, awesome. But you know that this is the absolute truth, 100%, and that's what I praise God and your mother for revealing to you. So keep that up. And anytime you have any questions, let me know. And James, ask your mom what Saturday works out well. Let you get settled into school a little bit, and we'll have another discussion one Saturday during the day.
I'll actually prep for this one this time.
let me tell Mathias something. I also wanted to talk to you. I got a couple more changes on that trailer. I had to reformat it into another program on Mac, but I'm rewriting the first scene because I had a better idea. So I'm going to send that over to you and Mathias and see how you, if it translates, because a trailer is difficult to write as a screenplay, because a regular screenplay, you have full scenes, but a trailer, you're shooting it as if you've already shot the whole film and you're just cutting clips together. But we can only shoot these small clips. So it's going to be hard because I'm actually writing an edited thing. Whereas a script is telling a story, and the editor and the director of photography and the director puts it all together to tell the story the way they want. But this is going to be a difficult read because I have to write, direct, and edit all on paper. So I'm going to need you guys to check it out and see if what I'm trying to get across, you know, the shadows of the Old Testament, if it's coming across visually on paper.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, and I know Paulo would be glad to help with that too. So you got several eyes to look over.
Any ideas I missed that you think are important enough that need to be in the trailer that would be sent out to actually get the funds for the film? You know, was important enough for that? It's going to make it, because the whole point of the trailer is to get the funding for the whole picture. You know, if
right.
I missed something, you know, in the Old Testament that we could do that wouldn't be. Like, I can't put him on the clouds of heaven. I can't do CGI like that. But, you know, if you see something in the Old Testament that needs to be there that we didn't do, I'd be happy to take your ideas on that. So I'll be sending that over to you soon. Yeah,
Daniel, that's what Daniel's been going through for the past year in the Liberty Studies is, you know, revealing Jesus in the Old Testament. So
perfect timing. Perfect timing then. Yeah, I want to talk to him about it. And I hope you guys, you know me. I'm like, I run my mouth all the time. So you know I'm not frustrated with you. I'm trying to think and I'm trying to make things work, and then they can't work and I get frustrated. That's why I don't even discuss this.
Right. No worries. I didn't think you were frustrated.
Well, that's not even real. Okay, then we got to throw all that out. You know, it's hard for me to discuss, because my fight's for the gospel. So anything else, I'm like, just believe it and I'll believe that. You know what I mean? But it's hard because my son is really obsessed with this.
Well, that's fine. It's good to look into it. You know, like we're homeschooling and we teach our kids both, you know, hey, look, this is what we believe the Bible teaches. This is what we believe. This is what the world teaches. This is what they believe.
Right. Well, I tell them the television thing is a big fat lie. You know,
right? But we still teach it to them. We still teach them so they can be not ignorant to it.
Right.
But we also let them know it's a lie.
On the test, he needs to put your book says. You know, he doesn't have to believe it, but that's what you taught.
Right.
But unfortunately, they have to know that. But I appreciate you taking time with little Jim, and I hope the viewers didn't get mad at us, because you know, I hope we were able to see that we didn't. You know, it didn't get ugly just because we disagree. You know, it gets frustrating because you don't know what's real. You don't know. You know what I mean? It's like you got to cut through all of it, and so it gets really hard.
No, I understand.
There is so much deception in the world, and he wants to believe that there's like bacterial life. You know, he wants to believe that, but I have taught him what those things are that pretend to be aliens. He knows that. He's been knowing that since he was little, because I didn't want people to say, here's proof of a real alien, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, Aleister Crowley summoned one of those things through a demonic black magic ritual.
When most people think of aliens, that's not the first alien I think of. When I picture alien, I just think of anything
bacterial
that's
life.
not of
I get it, baby.
I don't picture alien.
I let him have his imagination. I don't want to tear his imagination down. You know,
I got you. And some of the spiritual stuff, like we just started sharing some of this with our daughter. My youngest daughter, we haven't even we'll lightly touch on the topic, but we haven't gotten into details. But my older daughter, you know, we've started teaching her, hey, look, these entities that are messing with people, that are even abducting people, if you look in the name of Jesus, they just scatter. It's that spiritual wickedness that we battle against.
A lot of your blue ones that are so nice, they're playing good cop, bad cop. You know, they're wicked.
There are none good. There are none of the right. There's none of us humans that are good. None good by God, but there are no spiritual wickedness. None of those aliens.
All from the same source.
Exactly.
Okay, but what's going on? My lights are going kooky. All right. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you guys. What's today? Friday. I got
Friday.
Hold on.
So,
Before you go, we've just
Sunday.
Yeah, by the way, we just took a tiny little tip of the iceberg of the Everest of evidence I have left to show you.
That sounds good. So what we'll do is we'll set up a Saturday and we'll go through one point by one point by one point, and get through as much of that Everest mound we can get through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I won't bother. I just want y'all to talk out.
Yeah. Because you talked a lot.
I know. I said I'll let you talk your points out. You say you want me to do the Bible part.
Yeah. But okay. So I will see you Saturday. I'm not sure which Saturday.
Probably in a couple weeks. Do you start school this coming week, this Monday?
Hold on, let me check.
No, we've got 2 more weeks.
Oh, well then we could maybe do it before school if you want to. It's up to you. So me and your mom will talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll set up a time.
Yeah. This one will probably be longer. And I'll get some more.
Because we won't do it so late in the evening.
Yeah, we'll do it in the morning so we can have a whole day to talk about. So
all right, we'll do mid morning and maybe even have a intermission for lunch.
Yeah. So I hope you guys sleep. I hope I get to sleep. So good night.
Good night, James. Good night, Renee. Talk to you guys later. God bless.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So that was a lot of fun, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I love Renee, love James. I really like how he's wanting to know the truth. He's really actually searching out all these topics, and he's, for his age, he's very smart. So I'm thoroughly impressed, and I hope it was edifying for you guys. For the most part, remember this doctrine, whether it's flat or spherical, please don't let it cause discord among brethren. That's the abomination to our Father. That's what he hates the most. So if you guys have any questions about it, you're more than welcome to email me at talkindoctrine@gmail.com. I'll answer what I can when I can. But if you've noticed, we don't talk about this topic too much on this channel, just because for the most part it's unfruitful. It just causes discord when you're talking about the Christian community. Now, there is flat earth arenas, communities of people who just believe the flat earth that I go into all the time and try to preach them the gospel. But I don't go into places trying to preach the flat earth because it just causes confusion. So I pray that the conversation we had tonight was a good example for you guys. And tomorrow we're going to have a broadcast at 7 p.m. Central Time. Does the gospel include everybody? That's what we titled it. So after that discussion, we are going to do New Moon Tunes Talkin Doctrine Radio. It'll be the first time we do that. It's the new moon this Saturday, tomorrow. And so if you guys got songs that you want to share with us so that we can all listen to and just fellowship and glorify God listening to music together that glorifies him, join us. We'd love to hear and see what kind of songs you have to share. So I'll just be DJing it, really. Any music that you want to be played for tomorrow, you can go ahead and start emailing it to me at talkindoctrine@gmail.com. So I am going to call it a night. I appreciate everyone who made it in. Sorry I wasn't able to really focus on the chat this evening, but when I'm one-on-one with people, I try to give them all the attention that I have. So I thank you all for joining. I pray you have a good evening. Take care. God bless. And good night, everybody.